Welcome, golf fans, pursuers of knowledge and the almighty dollar. This is your golf guru bringing you the Waste Management Phoenix Open. This is my Before the Lock show where I cover everything you need to know from ownership projections. I'm going to give you my top 5 value plays below 7K. Going to give you weather. I've also got some different models that I didn't cover before, some notes and nuggets, and all that said, we are less than 24 hours from this party getting started. Of course, so many amazing moments that we've seen in the past and hoping to see in the future, of course, on 16 that we're looking at right now. And with that said, let's do this. Okay, so real quick, I'm still promoting PrizePicks, trying to get you guys a nice little payout giveaway for the Masters. So with that said, I've only been doing it now on the Before the Lock shows because that's when I give you guys my PrizePicks. And with that said, I am still have the ability to get you a free $100 if you put in my promo code. When you put your first deposit, they'll match you up to 100%. You just need to put in Golf Guru, and whatever you put in, they're going to match you again up to 100%, up to $100. Okay, so last week I decided to go with the birdies are better for you guys. And a couple things that I just, were new to me or I found out regarding PrizePicks was, as you see, I did get paid. Now, I didn't get paid the full amount because 2 of the guys hit dead on. So, which was interesting to me is 2 of the guys, of course, were over that I picked, and 2 of the guys hit dead on. And as I always mentioned in the past, you had to do at least 1 under or over, and PrizePicks has actually removed that. So now, if you like something where it's all under or over or whatever, you don't have that where you have to always pick that one kind of off, and that's usually what caused the issue. So I think it's even easier now to, again, have a better little chance of making a little money differentiating outside of DFS and betting. So, I highly recommend it. So a little tidbit that I've got for you guys this week is I pulled this off yesterday off the Golf Channel, and it just shows over the past history, the notable players that have the low scoring first round average. You can also leverage this if you're doing Showdown, but you got to remember this is old historical data. This isn't under recent form. But if you're curious, Xander Schauffele leads the field with the lowest first round scoring average at 67. Course par 71, so that would be 4 under. Hideki's at 67.5. You got JT, the postman, Poston, coming in a little over 67.5. Bubba Watson, of course, coming off that second place finish behind HV3 across the seas at 67.73. You got John Rahm at 68.17. And last, of course, Brooks Koepka, 2-time winner here, of course, your defending champion at 68.25. I am not going to go with first round leading scores. I mean, I looked at them. There's some good ones there. What I liked a little better was the birdies are better. And I'm actually going with a lot of unders. Usually I jump all over, the kind of overs. But when I seen some of the guys that we had options of going under on, I got a little excited. The first guy is Seamus Power, who if you go over the last 4 rounds of the first round, and look at, he rates out of this whole field number 2 with the most birdies. Again, it doesn't matter about bogeys. It's birdies or eagles. And we just need him to get 5 birdies or better, and he'll hit. Or, he can't tie 4.5. So we got to, it's got to be 5 birdies is the short of it. You got to remember the 3 par 5s on here are the easiest on tour. So in my mind, you're almost kind of saying to yourself, well, at least 2 birdies out of that. But yeah. So we'll see how that works out. The rest of these guys, I'm taking the under. Again, if you pull up over the last four tournaments these guys played for their first rounds, these guys were the lowest out of this field, like 130th, 140th, like that kind of, well, there's only 132 guys in the field. These guys were in a range between 120 and 130, and that's Kevin Kisner, who, of course, has not been in good form. But, at any time, these guys can turn it. Harris English and Keegan Bradley. And if you think about it, Keegan Bradley has a pretty good history here, and it's all about tee to green. It's the putter, but we are kind of going with that theory that the fast greens here and not a lot of undulation or slope makes the bad putters a little better. And then Harris English and Kevin Kisner, like I said, just been in bad form. So we need those guys to get 4 birdies, and that's it. So, or no birdies. So that's my picks. And last to state, so you understand, is that you have some options here. There's what they call a flex play where you need to hit just 3 out of 5. and you're going to get at least 1.5 your money. If you hit all four, you're going to get 5x. What I typically play almost all the time is the power play. I'm trying to 10x my money, which hence you got to hit all four. But as I stated, what I did not know, if they hit right on the number, then you actually still get paid something. So, and I actually did that. I hit another one during the weekend where it would have been, I got 500, it would have been 1,000. Okay, enough about PrizePicks. One model that I did not run for, that I didn't run for you guys in my preview show that I decided that I wanted to know is guys that putt really, have an exceptional putting on fast greens and who does it the best outside of 20 feet, because you're going to see quite a few putts because of these very large greens. It's what I did is I turned filters on fast and lightning and clicked the Bermuda filter. So this is also looking at the type. And then I clicked right on here, of course, which then ranked. And this is your top 15 guys. Again, if you're interested and maybe on the fence on some of these guys and want to know, these are the guys, funny enough, over the past 24 rounds when they played. So this is going to take data over at least the past year or so on Bermuda fast or lightning greens. Who's done the best from 25 feet? Who's gained the most strokes against the field from 25 feet? Funny enough, Max Homa, and he's popped up a couple times. And I don't think of Max at this course. He's had, I think, a decent course history here. But it might be an interesting play, especially when we get to ownership projections. You got Harris English, funny enough, but he's, his putter was way funny enough to two guys that I just told you, should get less than 5 birdies or 4.5 birdies are at the top here. Matt McNeely, of course, has withdrawn, and I tweeted that out yesterday. It took a while for DraftKings to get that, but it is on there now. You got Luke List coming off a recent win. Kelly Craft had a great showing at the Pebble Beach. Brandon Grace rates out very well at this course. Same with Keegan. You got Taylor, who, of course, won the AT&T prior and had a decent AT&T. Jordan Spieth's done well here, had a good showing last year. Don't mind this star. It was just for something else. Kramer Hickok, Burns, Fitzpatrick, Zach Johnson, and Long, which both these guys that get down here are good putters on Bermuda, so that's no shocker. All right, that's just for you guys. Something else to, add something else into the mix when you're making your picks. All right, for people that did not catch the preview show, I'm going to go over what I think is the top stroke gain analysis rankings. I'm weighting the heaviest ball striking. The next is off the tee, approach, putting outside that 25 feet we just discussed. Scrambling is going to happen. You're going to get a little off the rough. There's not a ton of rough here. And as you can see, you get in these waist areas. So you're going to have to do some scrambling. The prox to the pin that shows up the most is 150 to 175. And then you got 200 plus. So that's in the models that I'm using. And then, of course, gaining on these long par fours, gaining on the short par fives. Also, there's a few, I think there's 2 long par threes. And then you got to make birdies and eagles here. I mean, it's not a putting fest, but, I'm estimating, and the weather looks pretty decent. We'll talk about that. Probably, typical 19 to 20 under wins the tournament. And then I did change the comp course. Well, I didn't change it. I did an additional one for you guys. So there's a lot of talk about which guys have done well at the TPC courses. So I wanted to kind of focus this one on that. I added Shriners, which I think is a good comp course. Probably should have added it earlier in the week. It is a par 71. It's almost the exact same yardage, 72.55. I think this one's playing 7,261 yards. So like a difference of 6 yards or so, or 10 yards. The only difference is that there's bent greens there, not the Bermuda. But again, this has got a lot of overseed stuff on it. So not sure how true a Bermuda these really actually roll. Also thought was interesting is there's water at TPC Summerlin is where this is played. And also it's in Vegas, which is very similar look and feel to how this course looks and feels. So I thought there was crossover from that. But there's 4 man-made water hazards on Shriners, 4 holes come into play, which pretty similar to 6 here. And then from a sand bunker side, I think we're around like 70 some 80. And at Shriners here is at 90. So there's a lot of crossover. And even some of the guys who've done well at Shriners have also done well here. So you got that. With that said, if you want to focus just on the TPC courses, which would be Sawgrass, Deer Run, Twin Cities, Summerlin, these are the guys who fared the best, top 15 over the last 24 rounds playing on these tracks. Some of these guys have only played, less, but looks like everybody except Mito has played these, those tracks quite a few times. Of course, Rahm, Hovland, Schauffele, Homa pops up again, Finau, Pierre, Mito, Louis, the Burger, Burns, Thomas, Scott, Koepka, Bradley, Cantlay, Scheffler. That's your top 15 when it comes to. And of course, KH Lee was up there. I think he was like around 16th or 17th, like run under here. All right, let's go do some analysis on the guys below 7K, and then I'll jump out and summarize it for you guys. Okay, so I've hopped over into Fantasy National. Again, I highly recommend it. If you are doing your own analysis or want to do analysis, give this place a spin. And we are going to be focused on DraftKings pricing. Of course, again, I've stated this before. Use it for FanDuel, Yahoo, these picks. It's just if you notice the pricing does not match up to what you're looking at, you must not be on DraftKings. Okay. I've got no filters on over to the left as usual, and I am looking at the last 12 rounds. I'm a recent form kind of guy. As I've always said, these players can, get on a hot streak as quick as they can get on a slump. So we're going to look at especially the guys down here. And, these are the guys I've always stated that can really crack the large GPP lineups, right? There's the Bo Hostler waiting to happen. I call it the Jim Herman effect. If you remember Jim Herman, I believe now it had been like 2 years ago when he won Wyndham, literally out of nowhere. I think he was 400 or 500 to 1. If you can find a guy, below 7K that, not only get you to the weekend, but get you a top 5 or top 10, that is the huge differentiator. Of course, you can play more guys up top depending on how low you go here. We have a really strong field. And so, there's not a lot of reason. What I'm getting to is I think there's a lot of guys around between 7,500, 7,000 at, you can still build a really nice lineup and feel very secure. But if you are going to go and try to pair together maybe a Rom Thomas kind of, 6, and there are your two guys going in, you're going to be down here, having to figure out who you want to play below 7K. All right, so right off the bat, we got Patty Perez. He's a local. He's been on a bit of a heater, we'll say, for Patty Perez, a T6, a T9. Has played here a ton. We'll go look at that. You can see birdies gained over the last probably about a month and a half. Has been on the upswing, which is good. You can see his ball striking. He's 36, approach 13th, par 5 scoring 22nd, and that 150 to 175, he is at rank 77. So a little less than mid. We got 132 guys off the tee. Usually I don't think of Patty Perez that bad off the tee, but he can get wayward. And if we go click on him, let's take a look. So driving distance on average, 291. Accuracy about 65% of the time he will hit the fairway. That's why I was kind of curious off the tee, but this is over it's over a rolling 12 months. So it's not over his career. Same with the putting. Bermuda is his best putting surface. You can see his splits right here. He gains 0.32 on Bermuda. You can see approach around the green has always been pretty solid. Off the tee is his problem, and sometimes it's really all about the putter and how he does. And you can see that 6th and that 9th place, he's gained with the putter, and he's also been gaining with the irons, which is a nice little plus, and that's what we need. Usually, I think of him as a pretty good ball striker, rough off the tee. I guess the best way to put it. If we look at the waste management, he played her last year, missed the cut, but before that, he played quite a bit and had a good success here, and then missed the cut the last 2 times. So I like that. I like that he's local, and I like that he's been playing well. So with Patty Perez, I'm pretty excited with. We can also plug in some of the other comp courses just so we can see. So WGC, we're looking for the St. Jude. He made a cut, and then the Mexico, but that's not the one I want. Let's go look at some of the ones he probably played more in, like the Players. So a couple of missed cuts recently also, you can see, but, way back when he had a 3rd, a little more recent, he had a 22nd and a 17th, which I do believe there's some correlation from the Players. What about the John Deere? Miscut recently, but a 37th and a 55th before that. What about the 3M? So that's probably the best showing he's had recently at a TPC course. Twin Cities, he had a back in the summer of 21. He had an 11th. Let's see. I think Shriners he's done pretty well. Yeah, 3rd and a 7th, but a miscut recently. It's kind of funny. I also thought Patty Perez lived in Vegas, so maybe he's got 2 homes. But if you look him up, it does show Arizona, Scottsdale area. So as far as I know, he is a local. I think I even saw on YouTube is what probably pinged me on it was somebody has look at Pat Perez's really sweet house in Scottsdale, Arizona. Okay, so anyways, I like Patty Perez. You can also look over here, which will give you the waste management. So not the best recent form. Of course, he had a cut, a WD, and a cut. But before that, I mean, like I said, I'm going off. This is a recent form, local. I know he is 7,100, so I do say it's below 7,000, but I did put him in here because 7,100, it's $100. You can make it happen. Adam Hadwin. Some of the guys that are not highlighted, I'm just stating that I think there's still a good play down here. They're not going to make my top 5. I think Adam Hadwin has made the cut here, 6 out of his last 7 times. Let me take a look here. When I think of Adam Hadwin, I remember him last year having struggles. I think it was on like hole 16 or whatever, and chipped it in for par, and everybody went nuts. So yeah, what I say, 7 times, which is correct. He's made the cut in a row 6 times. So again, someone to think about. What has he done? Pretty good showing at Pebble Beach. And funny enough, he's not been gaining with the putter, which is typically a strong suit for him, which you can see here. If you're curious about his yards off the tee, 293, pretty accurate. When you get to Victor Hovland and Corey Connors, it's like 70% if you just want some kind of a correlation. There's his splits. Best is on POA, which is kind of funny that the last 2 times he's actually lost on POA and actually has gained on Bermuda. I'm pretty sure that doesn't show. I'm pretty sure that's Bermuda at the Amex. Anyways, I wasn't really going to go into Adam Hadwin too much, but I think he's a decent play. My next guy that I'm in on is Lucas Glover for a couple different reasons. He's kind of had mixed bag. Of course, Pebble Beach wasn't the greatest, but his best showing was at the Sony here recently. He's also won the John Deere. I picked him there. I think he was 80-1, something like that, if I remember correctly. And he does what I'm kind of going on is the guys that are really good ball strikers and, can have those, putting weeks or putting weekends, where typically they're not good putters, but can definitely happen. So like Lucas Glover, you can see good ball striker, got some pop off the bat, pretty accurate off the tee. Here's the issue, the putter. And then I think I looked at his best putting, and his best time, his most strokes he's ever gained in his career with the putter was at the Waste Management. It was a while ago, 2011, where he gained 8 strokes. I think there was the Honda, that's Bermuda. The 3M, I believe that is bent. You see Arnold Palmer, that's Bermuda. Wyndham's Bermuda. Shriner. So, I'm just looking at the times he did get hot. Funny enough, the John Deere, when he won, he gained 3 strokes, but it wasn't, it was all a lot with the irons. And you can see he's had a really good history at the John Deere. His, probably what put me on him. We go this way, right? It was kind of trending in the right way at 25th, at 10th. Valspar. He should do pretty well at Valspar, I would think. That's a ball striker course. Not bad. Not great, but not bad. An 18th, a 13th, a 24th over his career. What about WGC St. Jude? Recently was a 57th. And then I believe this is the one. Let me check. This should be the one. Nope, that's the one over actually in Mexico. So that's not what I'm looking for. What about the 3M? I missed cutting a 7. So there you go. That's Lucas Glover actually to a T right there. So I like Lucas, and you can see ownership's down right now. So that's good. Party Marty Laird, man. He's probably the best from a modeling and everything you can think of play at the 6,800. Pretty good recent form, recent results. He hasn't played a ton lately. Of course, he had a win at Shriners the previous year. I'm going to make sure I remember that. I always think Kevin Na, of course, his win before, but I think Marty Laird won. Let me see here. Getting a little off task, but I want to see. Yeah, so he won in 2020. Then I think Kevin Na won in 21. We'll get right back to him in just a second. But you can see from a modeling perspective for this smaller model, he's, top of the field. Birdie's gained, a little spike here. And then he's got a solid tournament history here, and he's a local. So home cooking, sleeping in his own bed. Pretty decent distance. Nice accuracy off the tee. You see POA over the last 12 months has been his best surface. Bermuda is at least still positive. He can also play in a win, right? He's from what, Glasgow? Something like that. He's from Ireland or Scotland or whatever. You see the putters, what can cause the issues. Last good putting was at the Shriners back in the fall, which is Bermuda. Putter's kind of been letting him down lately, but the irons have still been where I want to see him, so I like him. I guess he's probably my favorite play below 7,000. Let's see here. Let's go look at some of the comp courses for you. What about John Deere? A 28th recently. What do you do at WGC St. Jude? He had a 57th. Sorry, it's down there. He did not. I just put WGC in to see if Mexico comes up too, but he did not play in that. How about the players? Let's go to this. So you can see he's had some success at the players way back, then a bunch of miscuts, and nothing great there. So I don't know. I give that a C. That's kind of hard to correlate and say, hey, this should fit. Again, I'm more excited about the Shriners kind of comparison. What about the 3M? He had a 42nd in 2019. And what about Valspar? Does not like Valspar. It's been a while since he's made a cut there. So that's a tough track. I wouldn't say there's a direct correlation from how the courses play. Just there's similarities in par and yardage and greens and whatnot for Valspar. All right, next guy is Nate Lashley. Of course, he had a nice, he's finished here well. He had a T3 back in 2020. 21, he had a T17. I've told you guys multiple times, don't let this fool you. Nate Lashley, it's usually off the tee that could get me a little nervous. I mean, it's not bad, 61%. Where he typically does his damage is with his irons, which is kind of interesting. Maybe in my head, just like I said, because of the Rocket Mortgage, when I watched him, you can see he gained 5.5 stroke with the irons. But you can see the last time he played here, he gained 5 strokes with the irons at the Waste Management. He also typically does do well, or has done well, on Bermuda. Let me pull that up for you. I already know this guy did it before. So that's bent, and of course that was his best ever. But Sanderson Farms a couple times is Bermuda. The Honda's Bermuda. St. Jude is Bermuda. Shriners is Bermuda. Waste Management technically is Bermuda. So yeah, I think he's a solid play. He's not gonna make my top 5, but I like Nate Lashley. This is probably the flyer. Take a little scary, however you want to put it. I love Grillo. I think he was one of the best. He was your Luke List. He was one of your best ball strikers, off the tee, hitting fairways, awesome with the irons, awesome with the long irons. Just once he got around the green, just hold tight. It's not good. But, you can see that right here. He has faltered. His last made cut was at the Amex, but he's had a good course history here. And this is the reason why I'm on Grillo, and it's thin. I'm gonna let you know that right now. But over his last 2 rounds, he's getting his irons back, and you can see he went a little kind of funk here with the irons. And funny enough, the putter hasn't been terrible, except the Farmers, it was brutal. Of course, that's where you gain with the irons. It seems like that's the way it happens. If you could just put it together, I mean, I could deal with this. This is a typical Grillo. Gain everywhere until you have to putt. And you can see that. But if we go look at where he's had his best putting experiences, Charles Schwab at Colonial, I'm almost 100% that is bent. Yep, I always verify. I remember a lot of these, but sometimes the PGA, which one was that? That was bent. Funny enough, he actually likes to bent. Let's see, there's Bermuda. That's a long time ago to Shell, Northern Trust, Ford, WGC, St. Jude, that's Bermuda. Arnold Palmer's Bermuda. I mean, it's hard to figure out when Grillo is actually going to make 3-foot putts. But this is my flyer. I'm hoping that little trend in irons and he's just going to get better. His tournament history here, this course should fit him, and I'm on the path of I want awesome ball strikers and just hope for the guys that are going to pop with the putter. And so I haven't played Grillo or picked him. It's been forever, probably since early fall. So this is probably the one I warn you the most on. That could blow up, but I'm gonna go with it. It's gonna go in my lineups. Neesmith, of course, right? He fits that, awesome ball striker. I always said the model always typically loves Neesmith. You can see he's fallen off a little bit with the ball striking lately, but he does have that T7 last year and pretty decent form. I mean, way better than Grillo. Only 1 missed cut. So I recommend him. Of course, Wyndham Clark, same thing. He's made all his, how many cuts has Wyndham Clark made in a row? I see 5. Could be more than that. Let's see here. Oh, wow. So he's made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's been since Sanderson Farms back in early October that he missed a cut. So that's interesting. I've been on him recently. He's not in my top 5, but he has done well here. I was on him more on the POA greens. That's where he, really shines. I think he gains almost like a stroke against the field. But you can see a T36, a T34. The two things that he does well typically is off the tee and putting. It's the irons, and you can see on the ball striking side's lower. So a little bit why I'm off. I think if this is my own personal opinion, I think Garrick Higo and Mito Pereira are very similar skill sets. You've got Garrick who won a ton of 3 events on the European tour to get here. You got Mito who won 3 events. I feel like their game is very similar. They both can bang it off the tee. You see, he might be a little more wild off the tee than Mito, but both are pretty good putters. If we look at, well, at least I feel like Mito has been putting really well. So at Palmetto, which should be Bermuda, yep, par 71. That could have been an okay comp course, right? That's also, I didn't even think of that because that's got all that sand waste bunker. So Palmetto, yeah, probably should have looked, but it wasn't, I don't know. Not a ton of the guys that are in this field were in that field. I mean, some, but not a ton. Trying to see, yeah. So I would say it's the putter, but back to a pretty good ball striker. He hasn't been playing. I mean, he had that win at Palmetto, and then it feels like, his recent results aren't bad. I mean, I guess probably why I pulled him up. He's never played here before, but he's made his last 4 cuts. Again, if you're going to play Mito, I would say it's not a stretch. It's a little bit, but that you could plug in Garrick Higo for a less price. I think, but again, I think Mito's like in this 7,000. So I don't know. I guess I'd stick with Mito. Forget that. Scratch that. But if you are at 6,600, I think he's a good play. Henrik Norlander, same thing. Awesome ball striker, typically a very bad putter. Played, it's got one time here at T22 and just a couple missed cuts recently, but, it's made 3. So made 3 out of the last 5. I think Henrik Norlander could be a decent play. I think Sebastian Munoz would be my second favorite play. I'm a huge, Munoz fan. I think this pricing is awesome for him for what he can do. He is so streaky, as you see here. So a T4 at the Zozo, missed a cut. A 3rd at the RSM, missed a cut. And then a T39 at Farmer. So if you're going with that trend, it's not good. It should be a missed a cut. And you can see last time he was here, he missed a cut. So he should make the cut. So you can flip that either way you want. But from an amazing ball striker, I think Munoz is a great ball striker. The tee ball can get a little wayward. But not too bad. It's at 62% over the last 12 months. You can see, though, he can gain on Bermuda. Don't let that big bar fool you, though. It's only like 0.1. But when he gets hot, it's ridiculous with it. You can see he gained 2.5 at the RSM back this late fall. Then he got on, that's POA there. He lost. Let me see where he's done some of his best. So the Schwab is bent, but then Sanderson Farms is Bermuda. Which Byron Nelson was this? So, yeah, Trinity Force, I did say that'd be a good comp course, but they don't play there anymore. Anyways, I like him quite a bit. And you can see John Deere. I mean, if I went over into specifics, we could pull up like the players. Some miscut. What about John Deere? He had a 4th, a 37th. Shriners. 2 makes, 2 misses. How about Valspar is a miss. WGC Mexico. So this one here, wait a minute, take it back. I clicked the wrong one. So there we go. Now it's in the right order. Here's concession, 72 Bermuda, fast greens. I think it's a good comp. So I like Sebastian. He, you could see, typically you guys probably think I'd have been on Patty Kazire. I think he's a good play. He's in here. I'm not putting him in my top 5. I might sprinkle him in. Tournament history, he's made the cut. I mean, if I go pull it up, it might be more in this, but last 4 out of 5. Kind of a little bit like a Munoz, but not as good as finishes. Cuts or, T20, T42 cut, T56. Let me go click on Patty. I just want to see something real quick. Very similar to the driving accuracy, but, gains almost a half stroke when he's on Bermuda. He had that little hot streak here with the irons, but man, that's crazy. Whenever I think of Kazire, he should definitely be gaining strokes with the putter. All right, let's go look at some WGC stuff. St. Jude, that's a 31st. That's a while ago. He did not play concession. What about the players? Nothing to write home about there. John Deere. So he had a good showing recently. He plays John Deere well. Valspar. Yeah, a couple made cuts, but nothing to write home about. What about Shriners? A second and a fourth, but that's a while ago. Miscut recently. So again, he's not making my top 5, but he is definitely someone that I would sprinkle in. Bramlett is, just a putting debacle, but he's been hitting the ball better. Let's go take a look. Of course, he's got that crazy distance, so reaching that number 17 is definitely in play. I mentioned this, just the putter, still been bad. But gains with the driver and the irons okay. And it's going to be a bunch of Corn Ferry stuff. I just seen if there was anything else. Yeah. So you could plug in Bramlett. I got James Hahn in here. Of course, he's a local. You can see from a modeling perspective, he's definitely well. But you can see, not the best last 3. But he, before that, the Zozo and the Mayakoba, he made a cuts. But of course, he had that T10 here where it could have been a lot better. He threw some balls in the water on the back 9 last time at the Waste Management. But you can see he made last 4 cuts, so that's why I got him here. I think you can still play him. I put Kevin Chappell here, and you might have noticed he was on my opening screen. I think it's an interesting note. So this is Kevin Chappell's last tournament under the medical exemption. So what that means is if he does not, I think pretty much 5th place or better, he's going to be on like limited status. Might have to do some Corn Ferry stuff. So where I'm going with all that is typically, if you think like Chris Kirk, did this happen? He had to shoot, same thing, like end up like 5th or better to keep his card. These guys know that. Now you could go one side and say it's a ton of pressure. The other side is he picked this course. He picked this tournament, knowing that this is his last one. I mean, he could have waited and played a lot weaker venue, like I don't know, like Corrales or Puerto Rico or who knows. But he must feel like his game's okay now. He missed the cut at Pebble Beach, but before that, he made 3 cuts. Not the greatest history here. Let's go take a look at his Waste Management. What's interesting with Kevin Chappell too is he was a stud, but so if you don't know a whole lot about him, he great college career. He came out, he was on fire. I mean, we look at some of his. Oh wait, sorry, this is actually. Let's look at the Waste Management first, and I'll go into the whole Kevin Chappell thing. So kind of a mixed bag, a 24th to 30. You can see he's been around a while. Let's get off of that. And if we just go look at his... So he won like Valero back in 2017. He played a Tours Championship, a second at the Players. Like back in 2015, 16, back when Spieth was doing all his damage, he was a hell of a player. And where I was going with all this already, he hurt his back really bad. I think it had some kind of like fuse, a little bit like what Tiger did, where, he had to have some crazy surgery. When he came back, his first tournament was 2019. I believe it's this Greenbrier right here, I believe. Yeah, you can see this kind of between 2018 2019. His opening round, he shot a 59. So think about that. Your first tournament you've played in over like a year after crazy surgery, comes out and shoots a 59. Like nobody saw that coming. And then funny enough, you can see the rest of it, he ended up 47th. So from leading the tournament to like a course record, I think he shot 11 under, to, end up at 47th. Long story short, all I'm doing is bringing him to your attention. He's bare min almost at 6,100. And might be someone that you might want to consider. And then Preston Summerhays, I've got a slide on him for you guys. I want to introduce, if you don't know who he is, I'm going to let you guys know who he is. He has played in a few events on the PGA in the past, a couple of U.S. Opens, the Barbasol. You can see nothing, amazing to write home about. But there's some things to be excited about when it comes to Preston. So let me go jump over to that real quick. Okay, so if you don't know who Preston Summerhays is, of course, he's in Utah. His dad is Boyd Summerhays. Big golfing family, Boyd Summerhays. I believe played a little bit on tour, but he's been Tony Finau's coach forever. They're from Utah. He is currently a freshman at Arizona State. He's won the Junior Am in 2019. He's won the Utah, whatever state a couple times. He's a good player, I guess is the short of it. And I'm kind of on the fence, right? As in, he's bare men 6,000. Of course, you might even seen there was a Twitter video about his dad letting him know that he got a sponsor exemption. There was 5 exemptions. He got one of them. And of course, it was a great moment for him. He's come to this tournament. I think he was one of the kids, whatever bears or whatever for the tournament. It doesn't matter. Long story short, I think it might almost be too much emotions for him, and want too much and not make the cut. But it's going to be an amazing story if he does make the cut. If I do over 20 lineups, I'm going to plug him in a couple. Just a different no, unless you watch this or really follow golf, you're gonna have no clue who Preston Summerhays is. So you've been introduced to him. I just wanted to tell you about him. You make your own decisions. Like I said, I'm kind of on the fence of, is it going to be just he's played in other PGA events. So he's played in a couple U.S. Opens, the Barbasol, but going to school at Arizona, probably built this up to be huge. But I'm sure he's had to play this track a little bit. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence, but I wanted you guys to know. All right, let's go look at ownership projections. Okay, hop back over to Fantasy National. Let's go look at some ownership projections. Again, using DraftKings pricing, and if you haven't seen this before, this is within Fantasy National. You can also build your lineups. You can do mass multi-entries, and that's what we're looking at pretty much here. Is people that there's people that click on their favorite players, which that doesn't really mean anything. It's generated lineups is the number. So that's why we're going to look over here. And no shocker right off the bat, Stone chalkiest is going to be Rahm. Of course, he's been in the last 2 or 3 optimal builds. So I think everybody, like I said, I'm going to kind of pivot off Rahm. That's just me from a GPP perspective. Of course, great history here, number 1 player, blah, 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 all that. I'm going to lean a little more on JT, who's still chalky, a little less chalky, but he's chalky. But, I'll probably start some builds quite a bit lower, too, without any of these guys. I mean, I think to be unique, you can put them together, throw in a Preston Summerhays. That's going to be unique. Or, kind of start with more of like a Victor Hovland or a Matsuyama. All right, moving along. Of course, Scotty Scheffler. It's funny. A lot of people, even myself, I think this is where he can get his first win. Typically, when this much buzz is on one guy, this is where the guy that you actually want to fade. It just seems it works that way a lot. So we'll see how that all pans out. My guy Russ Henley, he's next. You got Hideki, Hovland, Xander. I'm shocked that Xander's still going to be this highly owned. Just how I think he's recent form is not good. I mean, I wouldn't put him like Tony Finau, Webb Simpson, not good, but it's not been good. Louis, there's the whole thing out there. I think so. His last 9 first starts to his seasons, he's kicked ass. We'll just put it that way. Top 5, top 10, last 9 times. What people are not thinking about with Louis, and I stated this yesterday, and I'm a huge Louis fan. I was all over him, last year. His putter, not saying it was everything, but it was a big reason. Like I said, he led the PGA number 1 in gaining strokes for the putter. The putter for the last, I don't know, few times we've seen him it's been negative. He's losing strokes. So for me, I'm not saying he could go out and win this damn thing. Typically, he's a second place guy, right? Not a winner. He's not won a PGA tournament. Now, he won the Open, but that's not technically sanctioned PGA tournament. It's a major, but it doesn't fall under that. Where I'm going with all that is, I'm not saying I won't sprinkle some Louis in, but I probably would just end up fading him. Again, it's all on how many lineups I build. Luke List, bit chalky. Aaron Wise, which I think that's kind of shocking. But again, I think a lot of people are a little bit on what I'm going with is give me the ball strikers. I'm not worried about the putting as much. You got Cantlay if you want to be different. It's down here at 12%. You can start your builds there. Corey Connors falls to the ball striking. Burns, which that's actually up a bit. He was less than 10% when I was kind of touting him. I was hoping it was going to be a bit of a differentiator, but we'll see how that all works out. You got Bubba coming off the second. Of course, Seamus, who's been just amazing. Spieth. And I'm just going to kind of scroll through here and let you guys can look at what you want to see. Um, Max Homa, I think, I'm going to build some builds with him. I don't know why. Same with the answer. As in, I know why, because he's not being played, but could do well here. Billy Ho, 7. I want to go the opposite real quick. Let's see who is not owned at all. Fratelli, that's kind of interesting. He could fit on that ball striking. Sabatini, that's a local guy. Hey, won this silver medal, man. A little respect. Graham McDowell, Brian Stewart, Stefan Yeager, Walker, Garnett. Just looking at the guys right now, they're showing no ownership under this. Stuart Sink, no love. Huh. Tyler Duncan. I'm just seeing some of the guys that I have highlighted. So there's Preston Summerhays, 0.2. Snedeker, no love. There's Chappell, I mentioned. What about these? Bramlett. I probably would not put a lot of Bramlett in. Not even really sure, honestly, why I highlight him. Scratch Bramlett from our 7K and below. I don't feel good about his game. Glover at 1%. That's interesting. Norlander. Munoz, 1.8. That I'm going to have a lot of Munoz. So you'll know real quickly how my weekend is going from a DFS perspective if Munoz goes bust. Higo's low. Kazire's low. Clark Griot. Here's my party Marty Layers, less than 5%. I think Molinari, I think a lot of people are going to play him as it kind of flush out. Matty Wallace, we just haven't seen in a while. He had that good run in the Dallas, whatever, Texas kind of circuit, and then just kind of fell off the face of the earth. Nate Lashley on past results. Hahn on past results. Neesmith on past results here. All right. That gives you guys kind of an understanding of the ownership. I gave you the top and the low and figure it out from there. All right, let's go talk weather real quick. As I always state, you're going to want to use Wind Finder, especially if you're playing Showdown. You're going to want to pull up Scottsdale Airport. This is right next to the course. And, of course, Wednesday is the most current because it's Wednesday right now. We want to look over here, and you can see some wind is going to, says it's going to spike up around 11 o'clock. So keep that in mind. Maybe you want to get the early tee time guys out for Showtime or for Showdown. Friday looks good. Saturday is a day that I saw earlier in the week that was going to have a bit of wind. This always makes me laugh. I've seen this, and I think I've even played it where it says, oh, the morning is going to have the wind, and the afternoon is going to be calm. It seems like that's never worked out. Either if it's windy in the morning, it's going to stay windy or get windier. It is rare that the wind is going to turn off at noon. I'll just let you in on that right now. So I wouldn't be like, oh, I'll put all the late guys out. Like that just doesn't seem to work. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And then Sunday looks good. So right now it's saying the day that the tournament's all going to be based on really who wins it or not is going to be perfect weather. So really you got two things to keep an eye on. A little bit Thursday morning, and then of course Saturday morning. All right, let's go wrap this up. Okay, to summarize my top plays for the Waste Management Phoenix Open, this is for 7K and below, technically 7,100 and below. We got Party Marty Laird, local, won the Shriners, can get super hot. It has a good course history here. Also been pretty decent form. You got Munoz, Mr. Volatile. Either he's top 5 or he's missing a cut. That is always screams bet me. It also screams, as always, I tell you guys, play him as a first-round leader if you're into that. I will be doing that. And, elite ball striker is just, can that putter fire up again? Patty Perez, also a local, had that T9, a T5 recently. Good form, good, decent course history here. Maybe not recently, but in his past. So I like Patty Perez with what he's been doing lately. I'd say Griot, as I told you, is going to be my most volatile pick, where either he could, easily could top 10 or miss the cut horrendously. We just need those irons. He has shown life with the irons again. So keep that trend going. And like I said, I think it's unique. If you throw a Munoz and a Griot, there wasn't a ton of ownership for those guys. Last but not least, that falls into Camp No Putt would be Mr. Smell the Glover. And he's been doing great, man. I mean, he's had pretty decent form. Just need that putter to keep working. And, of course, he won the John Deere. And last but not least, let's talk one and done. So, of course, I'm in the Mayo Cup Challenge. I need a good showing. Like I said, I started out really hot with Henley, and it's kind of went a little south since then. I mean, I had Maverick McNeely, who, T33 last. Abraham Amster, I think at the Amex missed a cut. And I'm forgetting in between that. But, yeah. So the guy that I'm probably looking at, is a safe play, would probably be Matsuyama. I don't feel like I got to save him for anywhere. Um, so he's the one I'm kind of looking at. So Hideki, I think, is a great play for your one and done. Everybody, and even myself included, feel like Scheffler could have a really good week, could get his first win here. So, I think Scotty Scheffler is a good play here. For me, I kind of want to save him for the Texas swing. So that's maybe the only thing. Bubba Watson coming off that second place finish behind HV3 across the seas has a ridiculous course history here. Could be someone maybe a little different. I threw in Justin Thomas. I doubt anybody's going to play him here, but he, which I'll show you, I think he's here second behind Rahm as in course history, or having the best stroke gain finishes at this course. So, if you really need someone to you feel confident that's going to get you a top 10, you could definitely waste them here. But I don't know. I think I'll probably save him. I don't know if it's gonna be for a major, maybe the players somewhere where that 100 in is really gonna the 100-yard in shot where he can use his irons can really have a nice effect. And then last but not least, I put Abraham Answer in here. If you need a kind of like a little differentiation, I think, I bet him 55 to 1. Of course, his irons haven't been as hot. The putter is really where he's been hurting. And there's no reason why he couldn't have a good putting round. I think he's what, 7,900? If I remember off the top of my head, on DFS pricing, it's ridiculous. But if you need, again, a place to use them, I think this would be good. I mean, of course, we won WGC St. Jude. This is a good comparable course for that. So I threw him on there. I'm not going to throw Rahm on there. I mean, I don't know anybody that's going to use Rahm from a one and done at the Waste Management. I think you're going to want to save him, of course, for the majors. All right, that's my one and done. And then, I wanted to show you this because I forgot to show you this on the preview show when I showed past winners. This will help you also from a one and done perspective. Of course, I already mentioned Hideki, Bubba, Xander. I think I want to save Xander till I see him in a better form, and maybe it could be here, right? I mean, this could be it. Ricky would be interesting, right? He's had a great course history here. Kuchar, if you want to get a differentiate contrarian, he's second as in strokes gained over the career. You can see over the past 5 years, the finishes here. That's a little risky for me, but of course, I already mentioned Rahm. Totality of the last 5 years has the best course history here, but literally these guys are tied, Kuchar and Rahm. So something to think about from a one and done perspective. All right, that's it, guys. That's my show. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. As always, do me the honor of clicking that like button. Share it with anybody else. If you've not subscribed, we just crossed 1,000 subscribers. Been about a year doing this, as in, had the show up and running and want to keep doing it for you guys. So got to keep that subscribe base growing. So do me also the honor of clicking that subscribe button. If you've not followed me on Twitter yet, I recommend it. Purely, I don't tweet a lot, but I do tweet out the necessary stuff. I'll tweet out here or there an anecdote or a video, but mostly it's keeping an eye on the PGA communications with draws, making sure you guys don't get burned with a 5-6 lineup or something like that going into the weekend. All the best to us. I'm super excited. As I mentioned, my favorite tournament that's not a major. Watch the party. Last year we had 5,000 fans here. We're going to have like 60,000. See the hot girls, see the crazy outfits. Yeah, I'm super pumped. This is, I feel like Torrey Pines really kicks off the year, the Farmers, but you could kind of say this is also. So all the best of luck to us, and I'll catch up with you guys Monday. And I take that back. I forgot to say this. I'm actually going to be on vacation next week. So I will not have shows out for the rib, but I'm going to try to put something together to release before I leave. I just don't know if they're going to have the field already. I don't know what I'm going to have for you. I'm going to try to put something together for you. But if you don't see anything from me regarding the Genesis for the Riviera, at the Riviera, it's because I'm on vacation. It's like the first vacation I've taken in like 2 years. So this might be the last time you guys hear from me until after the Riv. I don't even remember what it is now. I think it's the Honda. So I'll talk to you guys later. All the best of luck to you. And I'll catch up with you guys in a week or so. Talk to you later.